what I'm doing in Nepal is quite unique. So normally when you think of health and health research and public health, you usually associate it with a clinical practitioner or a doctor or a pure public health specialist who works in the field. So where I come in is as a life scientist. So my background is biotechnology. That's what I studied in Australia. So I use the techniques or the knowledge I learned during my degree of biotechnology or life sciences and apply it to understanding what's happening as regards different diseases, usually infectious diseases in Nepal. I'll give you an example. Right now we have COVID. It's a very famous word, But then COVID is caused by the coronavirus, SARS-CoV-2. So my knowledge, what I studied in Australia is exactly virus, how they mutate, how do you diagnose them, PCR or rapid antigen, how the immune system responds to viruses or bacteria. So because of that knowledge that I have gained, I can apply to now in Nepal, for example, how is it different? Are there genetic differences in the strains in Nepal? Is it affecting or impacting the population differently? So that sort of work is what I do. As you know, I already have my own lab in Nepal. So I use the lab, which has the latest molecular biology systems, platforms, and I work with clinicians, I work with the public field experts in the field, and try to understand not just COVID, but many other diseases that transmit between people in Nepal. No, in fact, a lot of people say, oh, you should know your goal from very early on, and I don't believe that. I think you find your goals as you move on in life and you adapt in some ways. I mean, you have a certain idea. If I studied biology, I knew I might be in the field of biology, right? But I did not know even when I was studying in Australia, or even when I was getting my degrees, that this is exactly what I would do. But what happened was, and when I returned to Nepal after getting my degree, I realized this was where the gap was. The gap was trying to understand the genetics of the virus or the bacteria, try to understand how it impacted the population. So this is where I found my calling, so as to say. So I would say only after I came back to Nepal, and then only around 2006-07, I started to feel the need for this kind of work that I'm doing now. But especially for a country like Nepal, the dissemination of science is very limited. As I already tried to explain earlier, you have different sectors doing different things. They work in silos. So if you want to connect the different silos, you want to be able to explain why that is necessary. And in order to explain that to the general public, you have to reach out to the media. You have to reach out to social media or mainstream media. And that's exactly the reason I tend to kind of associate myself with the media or social media and other personal interactions also. Just because it needs to go out in a very simple manner that everyone can understand and try to associate with. I mean, if you're in high school, or even college, what I say is, don't put too many goals in your own life, on yourself or on your life and in your life. I mean, if you overburden yourself with too many goals, it's always going to be difficult to achieve all of those. So you take one step at a time, but you must have certain idea in the back of your mind saying, well, if I'm studying biology, then this is the area, this is the general area I'll be going into. Not necessarily, well, this is the exact thing I'm going to do. So have that in the back of your mind. Don't forget what your core knowledge is. So if you're a biologist, you're a biologist. If you're a chemist, you're a chemist. If you're going to physical chemistry, you're into physical chemistry. But once you attain that degree, once you attain that knowledge, then slowly start focusing your attention in that area, and then start going towards that particular area that you're interested in. So notice I'm saying area. I'm not saying particular job, particular degree even. An area of interest. An area can be vast, and an area can be a bit smaller, but the area or the overall field is more important than a particular degree or particular exact job. So that's what I did. So I cannot speak for what I did not do. I cannot say things I did not do. So all my life it's been, I've known the general field, but I never knew the exact field, exact topic or exact degree. And I took it in my stride. And as I explained earlier, even until 2006, I did not know that I would be doing what I'm doing today. The knowledge and then the requirement that I saw in front of me made me go towards that way. So always have the knowledge, but then you start assessing the requirement that's around you. You're only useful if you attend to the requirements. If the requirement is not there, you probably are wasting your time. So you understand the requirement and use that knowledge. So I think that is what I would advise to anyone, whether that's high school or even college, or even if you're attending higher degrees. In the end, is the field, is the knowledge you have gained, and the requirement or the necessity of applying that knowledge you have gained. So that is my overall suggestion. In Nepal, there are a lot of young people, including my daughter. They're all planning to go overseas for their higher degree, I studied in two countries. Well, I studied three countries overseas, but two main ones. One is the US for my undergrad, and then Australia has been I've got 3 degrees from Australia. Not to blow my own trumpet, but I do have 3 degrees from Australia, right? And PhD happened to be full-on scholarship, right? So Australia, for me, both US and Australia are very nice destinations, no doubt. But because I did my postgraduate and doctorate degrees in Australia, for me, Australia stands out. And the diversity. For me, not just the level of education, which is always high, but the nature, the diversity of people. I never even once, when I was in Australia, felt that I was from outside the country. You have Australians who speak with a very different dialect, with their own dialect, on their own, whichever country their parents came from, or even where they came from when they were children. So that the dialect is there. You don't have to be very Australian. You don't have to speak with the Australian accent to be considered part of the team, And that is the beauty. So you can get the best degree, enjoy the nature, the weather, the food, and the people, So amazing. I would always recommend, for me, go to America or go to Australia, but I have a little bit of more inclination towards Australia, just because I spent so much time there and I have lovely friends there, and the overall nature and everything. So yeah, absolutely go to Australia. Oh, all right. Well, that's unexpected. Wow. Okay. Well, thanks for the good news. Wow. Because I kind of read the profile of the other competitors, and I thought, my God, these guys are like leaders in the field, and I don't stand a chance. To be very honest, I read the profile, not just in my category, but other categories also, and you have that on Instagram and mostly in Instagram, and I read through the profile, and I said, wow. This, and also Facebook, and I said, this is like, this level here. And I said, wow, that level I probably won't reach, but wow. Oh, thanks for the good news, guys. Oh my God. Oh my God. Wow. Wow. Now, let that sink in a little bit. Wow. Okay.
With your WhatsApp group, do you think you'll be able to hold the news until September 8th?
It'll be difficult, but I'll do that. No, I understand that. I think I'll have to hold the news. Can I tell my wife?
Yes.
Okay. And my parents?
You can tell anyone you trust.
Okay. So my parents and my wife, maybe my 2 daughters.